Oh, this is session 51. Who wants to give the recap? Who can remember what happened 4 weeks ago?
We fought what's her bitch. She got away.
Nerva, yeah.
Nerva.
Right. You fought Nerva, and
I prefer my name for her.
a spell was cast on her, so she ran.
Yep.
Vanished into the darkness.
Right.
Apparently, her hair can allow her to fly.
Oh.
Then we found what's his fuck it? Kato. These are my notes. They're official.
Yeah.
What's her
There was,
bitch? And what's his
there was
fuck
some bromance going on, I think.
it? Dude was mutilated, holding on to something. The moment you try and take what he was holding on to away from him, he starts to die. So we had to spend some effort to make it to where he didn't die whenever we took it away from him.
He was like basically all his skin was ripped off, so
Yeah.
eventually
His guts were also hanging out too.
So eventually there was enough healing applied to him that like he just kind of scarred over into like a very permanent like disfigured manner.
Worse than Dagger Face.
Yeah, he was like a dagger body.
It was all of the healing, so he's like essentially just a mass of scars at this point. But it was all of the healing, but prompted first by the greater restoration that was cast by Aurelia, is what actually made the healing work at all.
So once he was healed, we took the package in his hands that he was gripping, and it was an urn with Anubis's head. Darius then said was able to read the wrapping and said that it contained the heart of Tehol, the first emperor.
I just knew that.
Oh.
That was part of my vision from before.
So yeah, he knew that. And on the wrapping was a poem. And Tehol, being believed to be the first incarnation of Tehol, Tehol was interested in like trying to, because he could feel the heart beat through the urn, like he could feel like some sort of thrumming. But there wasn't anything special that felt special about this urn or this thing to Tehol. So there was a poem which, without reciting the whole thing, mentioned the noble fool, or the fool of the light, a couple different empires, and kind of mentioned a general potential storyline. After that, Kato, when he was able to talk again, mentioned that one of the weaknesses of the Emperor's Tehol's offspring was that there's a special enchanted weapon that could kill them permanently.
That dagger.
And we had one called the rock dagger from session 12 that we found in Dagger's face, in Daggerface's face.
Daggerface's namesake, if you will.
Yes. So after some discussion of who had the actual dagger, I think we retconned that Tehol had it.
We didn't know.
Yeah, one of the items that didn't get written down.
I did watch it. I'm pretty sure you ended up with it.
Oh, okay. And then that it wasn't a retcon. Perfect. So that's where that's basically where we left off. So we, that's where we left off. From
Yeah,
a general session.
my notes say long rest for next game, hit points max, hit dice, and spell slots.
Was that official? I forget.
I don't think I was hallucinating.
I had full health on my sheet, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I
So
gave one of my
it is up to you. My understanding was you were laying down to take a full rest, so that's fine if that's what you're doing.
And I gave Cabo Wabo one of my magic items, but hell if I can remember what it was. I think I already took it off here.
Cabo Wabo.
It is worth
The
noting.
Coegi Vis.
Oh,
It is worth
Carbowables.
noting that Cabo Wabo, during the fight with Nerva, was really confused because he just thought this was Nerva.
Yeah.
So he never actually attacked Nerva. He just kind of like would hit some of the faces.
and Lush Rossi has been walking a very fine line with that. He's probably actually, the whole lying thing is he's not actively said anything. He hasn't worked to dispel what you're saying, though, which probably, not great for his values, but he's kind of biting his tongue just because of the situation, but that may not last.
Yeah, that the other thing that happened is Cabo Wabo the dwarf and Lush Rosi argued. Cabo Wabo apparently thinking Lush Rosi's a bit of a useless idealist.
Yeah.
A couple more details for the viewers that I think now I'm reading through is definitely something you'd want to know. One, that the emperor, former emperor Telemus and Nerva, when they die, they return as their own bodies. So they're also immortal, unlike T-Hole, which returns in different bodies each time. So it's an interesting note. Also, it was confirmed that the last pharaoh of the Tholt Empire was Vecna, which was also an immortal child of T-Hole. Vecna is somewhat has some involvement, at least with the line of the empires.
Yeah, it was also said that essentially by Cato that Nerva and Telemus apparently are. He wouldn't exactly know the exact relationship between them, but he sort of gathered that they were following Vecna at this point. Although they're also clearly still working for the Empire, and so he wouldn't know necessarily like, well, what's the relationship then between Vecna and the Empire as a whole, or the Emperor. But he knows that they seem to have some sort of arrangement going on with Vecna.
And I think
that's where we pick it up. You can take a long rest so everybody's back to full health. At this point, he is healed enough that Cato can move normally. He's not what he once was health-wise, but he is certainly stable enough to just walk around under his own power.
He still doesn't walk great, though, because of an old injury that Lush Rossi is somewhat responsible for. Or at least he feels responsible.
Nope, we cured that.
And during your long rest, if that's what you do, Kepri would have come back.
Okay, cool.
So there'd be like a scratching and a whimpering on the door to the to the roof.
How much hit dice do we get back on the long rest?
Half
Oh.
of your maximum.
Or half of
hit
them,
dice.
yeah, hit die. Yeah.
Okay. That would make sense why we're +5 then.
Yeah, so as I let Kepri back in, like, what's the matter with you? Why did you flee?
I saw things.
We all see things. This is what our eyes do.
I saw disturbing things. She just, you see, she glares over in the direction of Lucia Rossi.
What is it? Why are you looking at me like this?
Yeah, their conversation would have been in Zarius's head. So
So it's just two glaring eyes.
Right. Well, we see Kepri, right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
it's
I mean, would I notice that he's looking at me strange?
I mean, give me a perception check. It's a big room. Sure. You see Kepri's head turns around to gaze at you.
Okay.
I saw what you were doing. Disgusting.
Is this out loud or also in?
No, this time it's out loud.
So Lucia Rossi blushes in that unique way that he does, since he has fur, and his mane just kind of darkens.
Yeah, actually, when she says, "I saw what you were doing," a couple of the Deadpools in particular are nodding.
Did he finally bathe?
I didn't see that part of it. Just furry balls.
So what are we planning to do now?
Get that image out of my head.
We need to make a decision on how we're going to address the situation with Nerva and the prefect, and as well as Starlock and helping our friends get out of here.
They're already gone. Telemus reached out to me. Well, he telepathically communicated, I suppose. He's him and Nerva are gone. So
They've just left.
Yeah. They said, well, he did express some disappointment in me, but I mean, that disappointment is mutually shared.
Wait, and Tiho, who told you this?
Telemus, the prefect.
You spoke with the prefect.
Well, speaking is not the best way to put it. I've received a message from the prefect. I was not able to communicate back.
What was in this message that you received?
My memory is currently searching.
Do you want me to summarize the important points?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time.
It was a month ago when I said this. So Telemus said that first of all, since it was now clear that you guys weren't going to go and fetch the wand, there really wasn't. He, at least in the Empire, didn't really have any strong reason to want to hold the prison anymore. Second, the magical storm which he claimed to be an invention of T-holes, is useful in that it can convert the soldiers from dead to undead when they do pass away. But it was behaving erratically, and since T-hole had entered the boundary, it had begun to create true ghouls or Derrickal ghouls that are much more problematic because they can spread an infection that causes other people to raise up as ghouls. So he was basically forced to, rather than have all of these men of his become these infectious type of ghouls, kill them and let them come back as regular undead, the kind that don't create new undead when they kill something. And then he was using them and the remaining Coegi Vis, the two remaining Coegi Vis, to hunt down the Derrickal ghouls who were now wandering about, hoping to stem the tide on any infection there might be. But since the wand is now off the table, he and Nerva were leaving.
So is that everything you tell us, T-hole?
Yeah. Essentially, he's buying us. He's buying us some time. Just doing I suppose, one last favor of warding off the ghouls.
Well, yeah, he did say that unless there's two things he did say. One is if you wanted to shut off the storm, that's possible, but you'd have to shatter the mechanism. He left that to T-hole to do or not do. And that if you don't want there to be an infestation or a plague of Derrickal ghouls slowly spreading in the north, that you should probably leave the Coegi Vis and the undead legionaries to do their job and kill them off.
So yeah, that.
Well, I think that this storm, this is unnatural, unholy in what it does. I think that it is the righteous thing to disperse it, but if there are ghouls that can spread a disease like this, I don't know that we should just trust in the Coegi Vis and the soldiers to take care of it.
They can be a nuisance. These creatures exist where I am from, in the deserts to the south.
How do your people deal with it?
If they come at us, we kill them. Try to relieve anyone who might contract their disease. It is a fever.
Is it curable?
Yes. But once you die, that is too late.
Typically, the fever itself is just a signal that you've been infected. And it will kill most people if you give it time. The fever itself will kill people. But once you've been infected, unless this magical disease is lifted, however you die, you will come back as one of these things.
Right.
Has there ever, to Lucia Rossi's knowledge, has anything like this, has he ever encountered or heard about anything like this before?
Lucia Rossi, no, he would never have encountered this before.
I still think that this is something that we need to address.
Well, is Lucia Rossi trained in history?
No.
Okay, then no, he wouldn't have.
I agree in that I think we should at least shut off the storm cloud and deactivate it so no new ghouls can be created. I would hate to have them just crawl the countryside unchecked. I'm not sure after the storm clouds are dissipated though, if how long the undead will remain. They could that effect is not known to me. So we might have to end up, if we deactivate it, we might have to end up cleaning them up anyway.
Well, I think that we need to cleanse this prison, and I think that includes the storm as well as this disease, at least as best we can. So I think we should begin on our way.
Yes, we should stop this storm.
Well,
But I would also caution, because T-Hole, while you received this message, we have no reason to believe the Prefect and Nerva. They may have left, they may not have, but even if they have, they may have set some kind of trap for us. Or there may still be dangers that they have placed in our path, so we should be cautious.
They may have released the prisoners.
I mean, we're in a prison infested with demons and a mind flare. Maybe it would be beyond stupidity to not be cautious, regardless of our conditions with Nerva and Telemus. But yes, let's be on our guard. So I think probably the place that seems most logical to begin looking for such a device would be Telemus's quarters themselves. Surely he might have kept it close.
Perhaps he would know where, as I point to Cabo
Cabo
Vigilis,
What is it you want from me?
the source of the storm. Do you know where it lies?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a crystal sphere on the second level of the tower where, basically, where Telemus set up after he moved all your friends up to this level. I don't know how to shut it down. It's just a giant sphere with a storm in it over essentially what is a little mock-up of the prison.
If you could at least lead us there, we can take care of the rest.
All right. Just one level down from where we fought with the imposter who pretended to be Nerva. So are we taking this whole crew with us?
I do not think that is wise. And then Lushirosi would look to Kato and Aramaki say, as we discussed before, I think it is best if you guys stay together, and then once we are ready to leave this prison, then we can do so together.
All right. We will be ready to move.
Zarius, with the bond that you share with Kepri, would if he were here, could he alert us if there is any danger that should come here?
He could. She could.
My apologies, she. Would you mind leaving Kepri here then? Having her act as a warning signal of sorts?
I'll turn to face Kepri and telepathically just tell her, stay out of sight, stay up high. Let us know if anything happens up here.
And she agrees and immediately disappears and flies up to the rafters.
Thank you, Zarius.
So Cabo Wabo says, "Are we ready to go?"
Yes, lead the way.
So he leads you down several flights of stairs. You get back into the room where you fought Nerva, and he leads you around, this time going through the south door. As you go through, you see off to one side, off to your left, there is 2 cows and several bodies. All of the bodies appear to have been torn up, similarly to the way that Cato was torn up. The cows, however, appear to be alive. So it's unclear what they're there for, but 2 cows. He then leads you around to another set of stairs down, and you come down up. You're up now against a solid oak door wrapped in iron bands.
Our old
But a key.
nemesis.
It is actually, in design, it is identical to the other iron banded door that you slowly burned your way through when you first penetrated the prison.
Surely this one's not locked. I was gonna try the door.
It is unlocked, thankfully.
T-Hall, kind of breathes a sigh of relief.
And then
as the door
Lucia-
opens, though, blackness pours in. Although I know you can see what's in the room on the map, your characters are in fact blinded. Very similar to the first time you came to this floor when you spoke to Telemus, to the prefect. It's almost as if when you open the door, darkness is spilling in and washing over you. So it is blinding you.
So Lucia Rossi has prepared for this, and he will cast Daylight.
I also prepared that spell.
And with that, the darkness vanishes, seeming to evaporate, almost like it was a cloud, although it was not made of any sort of mist. It was just pure darkness.
I like to think that Lucia Rossi actually slowly began to build up energy and began to kind of become fully enmeshed in light, and then it just kind of exploded out.
Actually, I guess I can, since the daylight's on, I should turn the lights on in this whole floor.
Yeah, but how do you cast the spell though? No, we're not talking about what you did with.
So in the room you see, it was probably at one point a library and records room. There are bookshelves and shelves of documents that line all of the walls on every surface. It is relatively well put together. It's certainly much cleaner than the lower levels of the prison. In the center of the room, however, is what seems to dominate it. There is a glowing crystal orb in which you can see what appears to be a storm cloud hovering over a miniature model of the prison and the surrounding mountains. It flashes with occasional motes of light within the storm cloud itself. It's not clear that there's any other sort of mechanism. The sphere itself just hovers in the air over a stone base below it.
I like this. Looks like the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yes, it is, in fact. All,
Oh, nice.
all 3.5 D&D books.
Nice.
Look, it gets boring here at the prison. They had the game.
They wanted rules heavy, so they had the time to learn everything.
Yeah.
So Lucia Rossi will look to T-Hole and say, so do you have any ideas on how to disable this thing?
I'm gonna touch the sphere. The sphere.
Okay. Let me see what happens.
Let me see my rules of death.
So, oh yeah, that's right. You're wearing. Are you wearing any armor at all?
You're a monk. Why would you?
I don't know if I
T-
was wearing like the elven chain or something, because I'm proficient in it. So I think
Everybody's proficient in Elven Chain. That's
Yeah.
the magic of Elven Chain.
But
I
as a monk, though, you don't get your special stuff if you're wearing any.
yeah, I don't think I was wearing any armor.
Okay, so you feel there is a noticeable like discharge of static electricity as you reach out and touch the sphere, but it's not enough to damage you or
Your
anything
hair
like
starts
that.
to go. Hey guys, look!
Right.
While T-Hole is doing that, I'm going to Lucia Rossi is gonna walk around the room just to make sure there's no hidden threats that we haven't noticed. So I'd probably start
There are
by going up
several
this way.
very large urns here. The urns themselves are like 5-6 feet tall, so probably there's probably water or something similar in there. There's food on tables here. You see there's suits of armor that appear to be decorative, but there doesn't really appear to be much. I mean, like I said, this appears to mostly be a records room, and so from what you can tell, it's not so much like a reading library as much as it is records of the prison going back probably several centuries. A lot of the documents look to be exceptionally old.
I'm gonna start ritually casting detect magic.
The urns light up, and the sphere in the center of the room lights up.
Urn? Where's the urns?
There's urns here and here.
Oh, okay. So I'll point those out as well. Obviously, the sphere is magical, but these urns light up as well. And I'll focus on one to see if it has a specific school.
Conjuration.
Some form of conjuring magic.
I'm gonna. Can I?
This is, by the way, a bed that has been set up here.
I'm gonna do. Do I know any? So do I recognize this type of magic, or like from like knowledge of the empire, like have a recollection of?
Yeah, give me an intelligence check.
Straight intelligence.
Yep. You have a vague, very vague recollection of you yourself attempting to make something like this. I'm researching how to make something like this, but the specifics seem to be something you just can't pull back into your head.
So I'll like touching the sphere. I was like kind of pound it. Maybe these urns have something to do with it. You're right.
While Lucia Rossi was walking around the room, could I do an investigation check to see if there's anything that pops out to me?
Sure.
That's
No, not really. Nothing notable really popped out at you. There's clearly, like you would have guessed, there's been some effort to turn this into living quarters. But there's not a lot here to go on. Unless you started reading all the records, maybe there's something in there, but they are voluminous.
right. So, T-Hole, how should we proceed?
Don't know. I would walk over to one of the urns that Zarius pointed out.
Yeah, I was gonna look inside one of them.
Okay, so roll me. So Zarius, roll me a D100 because you said you were looking inside it.
Oh boy.
So you open up the urn, and in
Oh,
it you see.
it's got a top to it. Oh shit!
Oh yeah.
I just thought it was like an open top thing. I was just gonna go peek it over.
Well, it is. It's 6 feet tall. So first, even you will have to like get up on tippy toes. But yes, there are lids to these urns.
It's an urn of many things.
But when you open it, in there, it's just the whole thing is just filled with water, as near as you can tell.
Okay. All right, I'll just close it. Water.
I would go to did all the urns register as magical?
Yes.
I would go over to a different urn and open up the top.
Okay, roll me a D100. Okay, so which urn are you opening up?
Which one was the urn that Zarius opened up?
This one here.
Okay, that one there.
Oh, I accidentally.
This is an urn. You said there are 4, or is this 2 urns?
It's just 2 urns.
All right, so I would open the other one that Zarius didn't open. For some reason, I thought these four pillar things were the urns.
Yeah, no, those are much like the construction of the rest of the tower. There's vaults in the roof that make up the ceiling of this place. All of these pillars around the room lead up to the corners of these vaults. So it's not like one flat ceiling. It's a series of vaulted ceilings that holds this place up.
Gotcha.
So as you open up the urn, I guess we roll initiative. Because you open it up and it's not water in there. It's essentially you just see darkness at first, but the darkness seems to wriggle and writhe and begins to spill out the sides of the urn. As you see, these are now scarab beetles. And you seem to recall there being something about scarabs in connection with the creation of the storm when you were trying to do it once upon a time.
How did they get a 12.13?
That's because I probably have the thing clicked to have a tiebreaker. It's a 12, but
okay.
The 13 is the tiebreaker.
Interesting.
I should do for Carbovigilis as well. Aramaki went back upstairs after you were safely through the door.
Do I remember the scarabs? Do I remember do I remember if scarabs are dangerous?
Swarms of scarabs of this sort can eat flesh and tend to be aggressive.
Watch out. They'll eat you alive.
So I'm just going to say that Carbovigilis is surprised. He was expecting water. So it's Aurelia's turn.
Let's see. I'm all the way over here. So yeah, I'm just looking at the books. Maybe finding something on pony unicorn summoning or something. And I don't know how successful I am. Something about a wand, I really don't care. And I just hear some kind of noise. I turn around, I see what, beetles or scarabs, or how big are these things?
I mean, individually they're like 2 inches long tops.
Okay, but they're like a big mass of them.
Yes, it is. It is thousands and thousands of them.
Okay, well, they're kind of gross. So I'm gonna move over here and I hit them with Eldritch Blast. I would assume this is not like one of T-Hole's pets or something. Right. All right, and I got another one, I think. If I remember how to play this character. All right.
Okay. Just covering this. So yeah, you definitely hit.
All right.
So which one were you going after? There's 2 masses of them separately.
Exit full screen. Let's see. The one that's closest to me.
Okay. That one. Okay. The mass seems to break up, and a lot of them scatter, but it reforms very quickly, slightly thinner than it was before.
Okay.
Now it's the beetle's turn. It's not letting me select the beetles for some reason.
It's probably Ringo.
Oh, there, that should do it. So the beetles are going, they swarm into T-Hole's space, both of them. And then they will start biting into T-Hole, I guess.
Definitely misses their tiny jaws.
Swatting them off of you. Hey, get off me.
Now it's Cyrus's turn.
Do I think that a trusty Sacred Flame would hit only them?
Yes, I would say Sacred Flame would definitely hit only them.
I will strike at a swarm of them. It feels like they're just one swarm right now. But have a go at it. It's a dex save for them. Fucking bastards.
Somehow they all swerve.
You've
probably killed a few of them, but not enough to make a dent in the full mass.
Right. Okay.
Heal.
So T-Hole will will brandish his Demonwood staff, and he'll just he'll just be like trying to swat at him, kind of like when you're trying to make a wave while you're in the pool, just like a good old trying to get him from the side. Nice.
So you are swatting whole swaths of them are being lifted up into the air and smushed against the floor. But there are still many thousands left.
I'm gonna use my bonus action to make my arms of the astral self come out.
Okay.
And yeah, that'll be my turn.
Okay. Lucharosi. They are now crawling up the legs of T-Hole.
You're muted.
I thought he just didn't care.
Yeah, I mean,
Potential. That's a potentiality.
So Lucirosi doesn't know how to deal with this. Would it even be effective if he tried to hit them with his weapon? Like, what sense does he get? Like, or would he just end up hitting T-Hole, which maybe he doesn't mind?
Yeah, if you at the moment they haven't completely swarmed over him yet, so you could still attack the ones that are moving up his body or are about to get onto his body effectively. Next round, however, they probably will all be on T-Hole, and it would be more of a risk to try to, glancing blow.
Right. So, so Lucirosi is gonna guess that he'll use his bonus action. He'll take out his weapons, the rod of lordly might, and the thoughts. He'll use his bonus action to light the flame tongue, and then he'll actually primarily attack with thoughts and then flame tongue. So, well, he can't really attack with that because he uses bonus action. But anyways, here.
So the second one manages. The first one kills a few, but a lot of them swarm out of the way at the last second. The second one is pretty effective, though, and kills a bunch of them. Carbovigilis, he comes forward this time and forms a maul of just pure force and brings it down. And he has pretty effectively, that at least, one of the two swarms is now mostly gone. Aurelia, back to you.
All right. So I think I can use Eldritch Blast without any disadvantage, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, after they get to go again, after you, they're probably all going to be on T-Hole, and this will be harder. But for right now, you can still hit the ones that are swarming on the ground.
T-Hole stuff. You can handle it. And second blast.
So the one swarm is nearly destroyed at this point, but it's still hanging on. Doing anything else?
Nope.
They continue. At this point, they are virtually all on T-Hole as they begin to swarm over every inch of his body, including his face, and try to bite into him. First, the weakened one. Misses.
That one hits.
Luckily, a 2 and 3 1s. Luck was not on the swarm side.
Crushing it.
Zarius. Now, if you tried to hit them, I would still say Sacred Flame would work because it can avoid things.
The nature
behind
of
cover.
Sacred Flame, yeah.
Yeah.
How about I mean, the swarm's still looking fairly. I don't know. Yeah, I'll just Sacred Flame again. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Anything else?
No.
The dexterity is actually not that good. I wasn't expecting them to succeed twice.
It's Sacred Flame. What do you expect?
So Teal, they are all over you now. At this point, it's even hard to open your mouth for fear that they might get inside.
Oh no, what a tragedy.
I have my so what how does a stop, drop, and roll work mechanically?
In this particular case, I would say it would be like an improvised attack. So you could do it. It would just, you're not proficient with the stop, drop, and roll. And it would do like a D4 plus dex.
All right. I think.
I mean, I would say there is this. I should say, you don't have the same problem other people have. Like you are aware of where your body begins and where they are, so you can attack with your staff and unarmed strikes without there being risk of you damaging yourself.
So I guess I would do that then. I would try to like hit different, like hit them on my back and like wipe. Then I would have like my two arms, like kind of like windshield washing my face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd spend a Kai point for flurry of blows to get that extra.
Okay, the last one manages to do enough damage to destroy one of the swarms. Oops, I lost him. There. No, one of the swarms is still on you, though.
Okay, and that'll be my turn.
Lucia Rosie.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna start punching at them with thoughts. Mostly trying not to hurt T-Hole.
See, this is where it will be exceptionally difficult because they're wrapped around him. Some of the damage will almost certainly transfer to him, like half of it.
Yep. Well, let's see what happens.
You gonna rage first?
Yeah, smite. That hits too.
How do those do?
Both of them hit. T-Hole, you take 8 damage, half from each strike.
I'm gonna, I'm not totally gonna go in on hurting T-Hole, so I'm not gonna use the flame tongue. Actually, with the flame tongue, could I just kind of hold the fire next to T-Hole to try and burn some of them off?
You could try. Go ahead. So yeah, that seems to work. The fire seems to burn a bunch of them without hitting T-Hole.
Okay.
Lucia Rosie, I feel like I felt a little anger in that.
Shh! We're trying to get these off.
There's not really that much Karma Vigilance can do. Do you want me to try to kill them?
Yes.
He swings his psychic maul.
Ooh.
So the psychic damage does nothing to them. The psychic damage, I would say, wouldn't apply to you, though. But you do take 4 bludgeoning from his second attack.
Oof.
Aurelia.
wonder if I can cast Dissonant Whispers on them.
I mean, it's a bunch of bugs. Do you think they'll respond to psychic attacks?
It says that discordant melody they can hear. They may not take the damage, but they may want to run away.
I don't know.
Let's cast it and see what happens.
Okay. Let's see. So it's a wisdom save?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
was meant
you
to
see that they begin to crawl off of T-Hole and begin moving away from Aurelia.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You run away. It's
Xeris'
working.
turn.
Can I see them behind this sphere?
You'd have to move to see them through the sphere.
10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
Or go prone. That would work too.
I go this direction, I can see them there.
Yep.
Try it again. It's got to work eventually. Fuck me.
Worked that time.
Hey, all right. I only saw the 19 at first.
So you begin to hear a series of pops and sizzling as a lot of them begin to die as white flame dances over the swarm itself. T-Hole.
I'll get within. Let's see what's the range of the staff? 10 feet.
This is 5.
5. I'm gonna get chase after them on a high now that they're running away, and swipe at them some more.
That hits. So you are knocking them flying. And with the last strike, you are, which I assume would be a kick since they're all on the ground, you kill almost all of them. There are a few stragglers left, but you can easily step on what remains. And individually, these bugs are not that dangerous. Only in swarms are they.
What I thought.
They are done for at this point.
Well, that was unpleasant. Do we notice the? Do you notice anything change about the sphere? in
Nope.
The storm.
Do the urns still have that magic emanating from them?
Yep.
Do not look into the urns again. They still show as magical. I'm gonna walk around the room just to see if anything else sort of lights up.
Yeah, nothing else in this room seems to be magical.
Lucirosi is going to change his rod of lordly might into the mace, and he's gonna approach the spear and say, "Well, let's try the blunt approach," and then he's gonna swing at it.
Darius was gonna go look under this dude's bed.
I'm going to hide behind the bookshelf.
You find an ancient collection of porno mags.
Yeah.
Starring Nerva.
A blasphemous display of ISIS. Okay.
So where is everybody? Is this just where everyone's going to be?
Yeah.
You're
Look at-
looking under the bed. Aurelia is hiding behind a bookshelf. Okay, so it's not, you don't necessarily, it's not like you can miss the giant crystal orb, but roll me damage for your mace.
If it's solidly built, might have a solid AC.
That would be it would be bludgeoning, but
Right. So you hit it. There is a solid sound of a crack. This orb you discover in hitting it is incredibly strong, but as you strike it with the mace, there is a burst of lightning that begins arcing between you, Carbo Vigilus, and T-Hole, although largely missing T-Hole. Carbo Vigilus, however, is in metal armor, and I assume you are in metal armor.
oh yeah.
So you two will have to make saves.
So I take 22 damage, or is it 22 and the 20?
No, you just take the 22.
Okay. So that stings, but does the weapon at least have some kind of effect on the orb?
There is a definite mark on this orb and the beginnings of a crack.
So Lucirosi kind of shakes off the shock and sees that he's lost some fur on his hands. So we could probably break it, but it may continue to, who knows what will unleash if we do shatter it.
I very vaguely recall something about scarabs and this spell. Like memories from a long gone age.
Okay.
So
So
maybe,
what do the scarabs represent then? Or how do they interact with this?
Zarius, are you familiar with scarabs?
I know they are a bug.
Well, that
yes,
was-
they could be used in various rituals. I don't suppose I find anything underneath the bed here.
No, there's nothing under the bed. I mean, actually, what you find under the bed is there is a small chest under the bed, but it's been emptied out.
Right.
Perhaps if we kill all the scarabs, then
I assumed you had stepped on all the remaining scarabs.
well, I would think that like if we killed all of the if there are still scarabs in like the other urn.
There was water in the other urn when it was opened.
Maybe we gotta. What if we tip the other urn over?
What's this thing? Anything?
It appears to be a globe, but if it has a function, it's unclear what it is. It may be decorative,
Right.
but it is a bronze globe that looks something like that. There are these religious icons that are supposed to represent the world. It looks like one of those, except it's in bronze.
The place, the desert to the south. So I assume it has some representation on there.
Yeah, the whole of the known continent is there. In fact, only the known continent is there. It's not highly accurate as maps go, but it's depicted.
Okay. No extra like markings scratched into it.
No, and it's not magical.
Right. Okay. So I just like, come over here and I see like your scorch marks. Perhaps hitting it isn't exactly the right method.
I'm open to suggestions.
Push over that urn of water. We already emptied one urn. Maybe we have to empty the other.
Perhaps we should empty them both simultaneously, in case they are still registering as magical. So more might come from it.
Well, what link do we even know between these things and the orb? I mean, all we're going off of is T-Hole's thought that the scarabs might have something to do with it, but we don't know the relationship.
Well,
You asked for another.
I suppose
Option.
we could go take cover and let you hammer away at it.
Is there no way to damage it from a distance?
You know,
Slowly over time.
actually,
Okay.
what about
Let us move to the
Aurelia?
stairs. You know what? Here, let me fucking try something here. It's a range on this anyways. Oh yeah. Just in case something unfortunate happens, let us retreat to further away, yes?
All right. So Luciorsi would move over by Zarius.
I'm gonna T-Hole's gonna stand behind and like duck behind this table and grab one of the 3.5 editions to protect himself with it.
The Invincible Edition. Man. This is like the one time when it would be nice if I actually gave myself guidance. I selected that as a cantrip, but I did not, so. I could use a bardic inspiration. Maybe.
You need one?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe nothing will happen. Because
Alright.
the orb, you said, is magical, yeah?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Conjuration of a type? Like a mix, maybe?
Transmutation.
Okay.
Well, what you would sense, it is actually complicated. The orb itself is transmutation.
Mhm.
The storm inside, the aura of it sort of blends with the transmutation, but it is definitely necromantic.
Okay. All right, yeah. I'm going to attempt to dispel magic. I will bump it up to 5th level. If I have any idea that might work.
Okay. So you cast the spell, but you don't think it had any effect.
Okay. Nothing at all,
Nope.
Was there any visible sign that you casted anything?
Yeah, I mean, magic would have sort of gone out and enveloped the thing, and I attempted to release something, but just nothing happened. Hmm. Nothing seems to have happened. I felt no connection once the magic was released. And then I'm just gonna, I'm gonna sacred flame it.
There is another sound of a crack as the flames begin to envelop a portion of the orb. And you see there is another mark on the orb that appears to be the beginnings of a crack, although this on the other side from the first crack.
We can destroy this orb. What it will do to the magic within.
I'm still in favor of knocking over these urns before we.
Then try it, T-hole.
So I'll go and I'll open up the one that supposedly has water.
Okay, roll me a D100. You open it up. It appears to be
Hello?
filled with fruit of various kinds.
Okay. If you can come up to the gate, I'll meet you at the door.
I thought he was talking to us.
Yeah.
Second.
If you could come to the door, it's all the way at the back on the right hand side. No, the gate's not locked. All right.
Zarius, there's fruit in here.
Does the fruit register magical?
No.
So I'll pull out, like, what kind of fruit is it? Like we talking like watermelons, cantaloupes, apples, bananas?
It is mostly handheld things. It's not, bananas are a little more exotic than what seems to be in here, but there are pears and apples and generally like temperate climate fruits.
So I'm gonna pull out an apple, and does it smell? Like, does anything seem off about it?
No, as near as you can tell, it is a normal apple.
I'm gonna bite into it.
Seems to be a normal apple. It's a fairly tart variety of apple, not even necessarily one that you would have had before, but seems fine.
So apples are pretty good. So I'm gonna knock it over. The whole urn.
So give me an athletics check. So even trying to move it, these urns are incredibly heavy, probably a few hundred pounds. So you are unable to even get the leverage needed to tip the urns over, tall as they are.
If that was a 10, would it change it? Because I have my arms active, so I can use my wisdom modifier in place of strength for strength
Yeah,
based checks.
10 actually would be enough to tip it over. So fruit comes, the lid goes flying off several feet away, and fruit begins to pour out, but nothing otherwise unusual happens. It's not an endless stream of fruit. It's just the fruit that happened to be at the top of the urn spilled out. The urn appears to be undamaged for having been tipped over.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a magical urn, and that's it. I'll go back to the other one and open it up.
Entirely useless urn.
Roll me a D100. inside it is filled with a liquid. It's, it's hard to even see. It's the level of the liquid's relatively low. It doesn't seem to have an odor that you can discern, but you can hear it sloshing around inside. Might be more water.
I'm gonna tip this urn over too.
So tipping the urn over, I'll give you an athletics check, although you'll probably make it. Yeah, so tipping the urn over, oil begins to run out. It's not very thick oil, but it is some sort of oil, begins to spill out onto the carpet.
Oil.
While he's messing with this, I'm watching the this orb here. Any sort of change at all whenever he's dicking around with it?
Nothing that you can discern. I mean, like I said, there are patterns of lights that occasionally flash within the storm itself, but they seem to be random, and the randomness doesn't seem to be reacting to what T-Hole was doing.
Okay. Perhaps let us just stick from far away and strike it with magic.
Yeah. So T-Hole will go back and resume his cover behind the 3.5 player's handbook.
Where is young Aurelia? Taking a cat nap.
Yeah, she is hidden from your sight.
So I'll just do it again. Sacred Flame, I guess.
This time the crack widens substantially here on the surface of the thing, but it hasn't broken yet.
Okay. I'll just keep at it till it breaks. I don't know if you want me to keep pressing it or not, but
no, if everyone's going to basically keep their distance. The crack continues to widen until eventually you see there is a sizable gap. Then you cast it one more time, and you see the entire orb begins to shatter. And out of the ooze, or out of the shell of it, you could see the storm begins to sort of be spread out, almost like it was a kind of ooze spreading along the floor. It's no longer confined exactly into the area it was in. But the storm appears to be intact. It's just spread out a bit now.
okay. I don't know how long it would have taken me to do that if my detect magic
Probably,
is still up or not.
It would have taken you about, 6 rounds, 5 rounds. So your detect magic's still going to be around for a while.
Okay, cool. Still going then. And now it's that the transmutation is gone.
Yes, the transmutation vanished when the orb shattered. There's
Now
still
it's just-
vague hints of it, but they're now enveloped in this sort of blob of a storm.
Okay.
The storm, the one change is that while the storm was hovering over the model of the landscape before, it has now fallen to the floor with the shattering of the orb.
Okay. Let us I'm gonna hit it with the Sacred Flame.
Okay. So now we can roll the Sacred Flame.
I did not roll well. I like that last one more.
So, but still, you managed to damage it.
Is it reacting at all?
Yes,
Okay.
with that, it clearly has begun to sort of coalesce and is sort of shrinking back into a smaller mass.
Okay. Can I do it again?
Hold on, no, because
We're
now we
rolling
roll for initiative, but
Yeah, okay.
let me clear clear the turn tracker first. So now we can roll for initiative. Peter, roll for initiative.
We broke the orb.
Wait, why did I clicked on my token before I rolled?
I don't know. So roll again, I guess.
Okay.
Well, there you go. You did a lot better that time. Cabo Wabo doesn't know that this isn't what's supposed to happen. So he doesn't know to do anything. He basically, he asked, did we win? And then it's Aurelia's turn.
Um,
No,
at least
Aurelia,
Rosie would respond. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Aurelia, you would have heard the sound of shattering crystal or glass, but you wouldn't have seen anything from where you're from where you're at now. We
Okay.
decided you were taking a bit of a nap, so you were just like waking up.
Take a cat nap.
I'm going to use, because I hear the glass shattering. I'm thinking probably something bad might happen, and I want to make sure I grab one of these books from the bookshelf. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll randomly grab one that looks interesting.
I don't know that there's, I'm not sure what you would consider to be interesting. These are mostly prison records of like prisoners who've been here. A lot of things about like, you know, shipments of supplies coming in or going out or what's needed, correspondence with people back in Longspear.
Okay, so there's probably nothing like unicorns or ponies or.
There's not much in the way of like fiction or history or anything that's not related to the administration of a prison.
Do all
Something
the
rainbow colored.
Yeah, like the colors. So I'll find the one that's like the least drab out of all of them.
So you do manage to find one that is at least relatively nicely bound in leather. So
Okay,
it's
good.
sort of a nice warm brown.
Okay,
don't have-
yeah.
They don't carry Lisa Frank here.
And
then drawing it out, you see there's like a picture of like Fabio on a horse on the cover.
so I'll just move over. I got the book, and I'll just see what the hell's going on.
So in the center of the room, you see what was once the storm it seems to just be filling the space around where the crystal orb used to be. And it is flashing more than it was when it was inside the orb at this point.
Okay. It's free now. Okay, good.
So you doing anything?
I figured my action was grabbing that book.
Okay. So Lucirosi.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn to Zarius and be like, so what do we do now? Because it doesn't look like a creature to me, right? It just looks like a floating storm.
It looks like a cloud that has floated to the ground.
Yeah. So Lucius, you wouldn't know what to do with this. You wouldn't immediately think to run up and punch it.
I believe this is alive in some way.
So what do we do with it?
I vote we kill it.
We don't even know what it is. It may not deserve to be killed.
Well, we're an initiative, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, so Lucirosi is just gonna kind of observe this thing, try to figure out what it is. Maybe if I can do an intelligence check or a religion check or an insight check to get a better idea of like what's going on right now.
What would be the best check? Yeah, I don't think wisdom, like an insight check on a cloud.
Yeah.
I don't know it's going to give you much, but you can do an intelligence check.
Okay.
I mean, you know, it's cloud.
Yeah.
It's somehow related to this storm that was outside.
Okay, so that's not enough information for me to think I need to go up and punch it.
So Zarius.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold my action to cast Sacred Flame on it if it starts to do something untoward towards any of us. Also, I'm going to telepathically tell Kepri to go look outside and tell us what she sees. Tell me what she sees.
Okay.
And like specifically if the cloud is still visible. And if it's changed in nature.
Okay. So she responds that she will do that.
Okay.
T-Hole, what are you doing?
I guess I would. I mean, it doesn't look dangerous, or at least it's not. It's just kind of sitting there. So I guess I would like kind of creep forward.
Hey there, little guy.
30. Yeah, so I would kind of creep forward and you know, is it react or change or spark lightning as I get closer?
I mean, it's been in the seconds in which you walked up, you don't see any change in it.
I'm gonna grab my rock dagger and like swipe at the air, like swipe through the cloud with it.
Okay, roll to hit.
Holy cow.
So yeah, that you just miss. I luckily for you, I do not have, except in special cases, I do not have critical miss rules.
Luckily.
Because yeah, you
Seems
might
harmless, guys.
you might accidentally kill yourself with the one weapon that can permanently kill you. So, but yeah, I mean, that is a bad enough miss that like you go to swipe at it, but you're so timid that you don't even connect. You're still like, the blade is still like a foot away from the mass of the cloud.
And I'll like confuse it a bit, huh? And then I'll like try to swipe it again.
That time you connect much better. And you do feel, although you're stabbing into a cloud, there is some resistance as the blade sinks in to the mass of it. So that it's almost more like cutting into jello than like cutting into a cloud. And it does seem to recoil from that.
And I guess while I'm at it, I'll just give it a punch for good measure.
And again, it doesn't necessarily feel like you're hitting something solid. And it's hard to tell if you've damaged it or how much, because it cuts into it or slams into it. And the cloud recoils a bit, but it doesn't, it's not bleeding because it's a cloud. But in reaction to that, the cloud, you see 3 tendrils begin to solidify within the cloud and then jet out at you. Let's see.
Damn.
And you're both shocked with lightning and pummeled by these now solidified chunks of the cloud.
Damn.
Brutal attack. But I guess that should qualify as untowards towards.
Yes, that would qualify as untowards. It was defending itself. I guess it's a matter of interpretation.
Right. That's how Lucerosi would look at it. It didn't do anything until T-Hole started poking at it.
You alive? Do something. 26.
Did Lokexicus start attacking you when you started poking at her?
Yes. It's a lot of damage. I need
So you can see there is a reaction as the flame begins to burn inside the cloud itself. It does seem to spread throughout the body rather than the body of the cloud, rather than simply dissipating at any one spot in it. So it appears as though it had an effect.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that is enough for Carbovigilus to come up and attack with still having his maul out.
By the way, T-Hole falls unconscious.
Good to know.
Well, T-Hole got what he deserved. You poking a bear, don't be shocked when it bites you.
Where's the bear?
Well, you know.
Poke at a cloud?
It might be a cloud bear
Man bear pig.
and bear pig.
Half man,
Cloud
half
bears,
bear, half pig.
cloud bears used to be a D&D thing. If you ever go back and watch the D&D cartoon, there's a whole like series of episodes that have the cloud bear city.
That is good to know.
Yep.
Is
So
that the origin of the
Carbovigilus-
Care Bears?
I don't know which came first, but Carbovigilus runs forward with this psychically formed maul that he has, and swings at this thing in front of him. It passes through. It definitely it does slow down as it hits it, so it does seem as if he hit something. But again, it's very hard to figure out how much damage he's done, if he's done damage. And as he's swinging through, you begin to see arcs of lightning around him as he's wearing metal armor. So yeah, he winds up taking a lot of lightning damage for him. I'm not even sure if I've damaged this thing.
Does T-Hole take more damage because he's within 20 feet?
T-Hole luckily is, oh, that's right. T-Hole is using the rot dagger. So yeah, make me you're unconscious at this point. So yes, I guess do you automatically fail saving throws, dex saves when you're unconscious?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you take 26 more lightning damage, which is to say a failed death save.
Secretly, Lucerosi takes some joy watching T-Hole's
like,
unconscious body be charred. and-
electrical charge flowing through the dagger. Is that enough to kill him? Yeah. T-Hole just survived for a while because I can't get to you. Not in one round.
So
Oh wait, did I?
that
did
was
I prepare healing word?
Carbovigilus's turn. Aurelia. T-Hole is down. Carbovigilus probably got more electrical damage than he did to the thing.
All right, I can make it to T-Hole. I'm going to cast Cure Wounds.
So T-Hole has 12 hit points.
So I imagine like just being shocked by a giant cloud bear lightning. Cloud bear lightning is not quite nearly as shocking as Aurelia's touch as I jolt up back to life. Be careful. This thing is dangerous. We need to get out of here.
Well, you started it. Now we have to finish it.
So is Aurelia doing anything else?
No.
So it's Luciosi's turn. Again,
Okay.
insight, can't really insight a cloud, so it's not clear if this thing is still hostile, but
Right.
Carbovigilis just attacked it. It didn't react well to being attacked last time.
Right, and seeing that in reaction, it shot lightning at him. Lucirosi is going to cast a spiritual weapon.
So you can put your spiritual weapon as.
Yeah.
So the spiritual weapon itself claws into the thing, and it again appears to have some effect, but it's hard to tell exactly how much.
And then that's pretty much what I'm going to do with my turn.
Okay. Zarius.
Just looking here. Yeah, so I guess I'll just what's the range on this? 15 feet. All right. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I think that's within 15 feet. I guess I got it one closer. And I'm going to go ahead and cast Spirit Guardians.
Okay.
It seems like this radiant damage from my Sacred Flame is having a better effect on it. Maybe. I don't know for sure, but. So I'm going to get closer and do that. So on its turn, it actually has to make that save. Beginning of its turn. And I don't. Yeah, so T-Hole is conscious again, so we're good.
Teal, your turn.
If I move away, do I evoke an attack of opportunity?
You don't know necessarily. I mean, there are still these sort of semi-solidified masses that hit you that are still around.
I'm gonna use my bonus action to use my Cape of the Moment Bank and Dimension Door.
You could also just use a Kai point and disengage, or use your action to disengage. I suppose.
I suppose. So I guess I'll just use my action to disengage, and hide back behind the table, away from this thing.
So as you move, you do now get the sense that if you had backed away without taking care, it could have swiped at you again.
So that'll be my turn.
Okay. Let's see. What does it do? It first it lashes out at Carbovigilis with its pseudopods, missing once, and then it takes a swipe at Aurelia because she's nearby.
It's got to make a wisdom save.
Oh, right. Well, it's not exactly going to die in one round.
Right.
But failed. So then it takes a swipe at Aurelia.
All right. So reaction, hellish rebuke.
So what kind of damage is that?
Fire.
Okay. So you see there is a fire erupts within it. Hard to say if it damaged it at all. It looks exactly the same after the fire dissipates. Cabo Wabo is backing up, and he backs up to there and everything's fine, and he backs up to there, and then another pseudopod comes out and tries to smack him at least, and does smack him. And you can see Carbovigilus is close to dying. But he is then able to retreat back to here. And it's Aurelia's turn.
Summon a psychic crossbow.
Hmm.
I mean, the good news is it used its reaction to attack Carbovigilus, so you could back away.
$20, $25. I can get to there. And I will cast Cure Wounds on Carbo Wabo.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting to take that much damage from this thing. It's just a cloud.
Clouds can be mean.
Lucirosi.
Just a cloud outside, too. Have I heard back from Kepri yet?
Not yet. It's only been around.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
long does it take? She's fast.
So, yeah, Lucirosi seeing that it hurt Aurelia, that would cause him to run up to it and attack it. So, and so he would. He hasn't taken out his flame tongue, so he's going to use a bonus action to take out to activate the flame tongue, and then he would do 2 attacks with it.
Okay, so when you do your first attack, you hit,
Mhm.
and lightning again erupts from it. And of course, Zarius is in range of this particular lightning storm, so he has to
But-
also make a deck save.
I gotta ask a quick question. I'm wearing dragon scale, right? Does that
That's true. Unless you're holding a metal item or wearing metal armor, you don't have to. So maybe you don't. Dragon scale doesn't count as metal.
perfect?
Okay. So I take the 21 damage, but then I also did all that other stuff.
Right.
And that's my turn.
So, right, it takes that damage. And then you hit it with your second attack, and there's another eruption of lightning.
Oof.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, dude.
okay. So
Can I make another deck save? Does it even matter?
yeah, after that, Lucirosi is going to retreat. So I was standing. It's here, I think, right?
Yep.
Damn it.
Retreat where?
Yeah, I'll use an action point to get out of its reach.
Did you use your bonus action yet?
Yeah.
Did you use your bonus action?
Yeah, to activate my flame tongue.
Oh, okay.
Didn't see how Aurelia's fire basically did nothing to it.
So Zarius, it's your turn.
Yeah. I'll just. I don't even know anymore. It's just gonna try and fucking hit me now. Maybe. Maybe it doesn't know I'm here. I'm just standing in my invisible, not invisible, but by like my, hard to see through cloud of jackals, basically. And I'll just Sacred Flame it. Fuck it. Let's do it. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Come on.
So yeah, somehow it manages to react in such a way that it is able to create a hole directly through to the floor and avoid the being hit with the Sacred Flame.
All right. I'll use a bonus action to sit the Spirit Weapon.
That Spirit Weapon swings into it. You can figure out where you want to place the Spirit Weapon. It swings into it. It seems to hit the mass of it. Yeah. Again, at this point, it's unclear. It's very difficult to figure out how much damage is being done. The cumulative effect you would guess with your passive perception, you're probably damaging it. It's just very difficult to gauge how much, like how strong it was and what percentage of its health it's down.
Somebody hit it with a strong gust of wind. Disperse it. That's it.
Okay. T-Hole.
T-Hole, why did you have to agitate this thing?
Well, thought we were trying to get rid of the storm cloud. Everybody seemed gung-ho on hitting the sphere, so why not finish the job? T-Hole's going to for S&Gs, I'm gonna pull my touch the demon with staff, and I'm gonna to bane the cloud.
Okay. What save is that?
Charisma, I think.
Charisma.
So what does the Bane look like?
I imagine that when casting it, because it's verbal, somatic, and material, so I'd imagine it'd be some like a curt word. The like T-Hole's eyes would like shine gray, and as like he says like the activation word, like it kind of shoots into the cloud, almost like spitting lightning back at it. So like in this instance, I would imagine it as like kind of infecting it with my own lightning to try to confuse it.
So as you do that, you see the cloud itself visibly darkens all over. So you definitely had some effect on it. But it's its turn now. Or are you doing something else?
I'm gonna run. I'm gonna to use my movement to get behind the bookshelf and then like hide there.
Figure out how far away people are.
All right. It's got to make a wisdom save right quick.
Yep.
My spirit guard, there you are. Before I potentially lose concentration on it.
So you do see a little more perceptibly to you now, Sarius, that the Spirit Guardians is definitely having an effect on it. It's just that it is a lot of cloud.
Sure.
And it slowly begins to roll, enveloping you. And then lashes out at you.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah. Even with Bane on the first two, it don't matter.
And the third one misses.
So that's 25 first, and then yeah. Brutal.
So it's 2 concentration checks then. Made it.
Half of that second one. I got a 16 on it, but I'm not sure if that's gonna be enough.
33, right? Divided by 2.
Oh, it's just enough.
Yep.
Ha
Carbo Vigilus still isn't sure what to do, but he will come forward and he forms in his hand a lance of pure psychic energy and hurls it. And it mostly scatters through the cloud, but it did maybe have some effect on it. Aurelia.
See what happens. I'm gonna do vicious mockery.
So you honestly can't be sure if it had any effect at all. It may have, it may not have. It can definitely hear you. I mean, it's in the same room as you, and it's got some physicality to it.
Okay.
Lucirosi.
So Zarius, while you're in the cloud, do you look like you need help getting out?
I mean, that was a pretty massive amount of damage.
Yeah, Lucirosi would, if you look like you need it, he would rush in to grab you and pull you out.
I mean, you're not physically restrained within the cloud. It's still pretty much just a cloud. But you may take damage if it attacks you as you try to retreat. Unless you disengage first.
So Zarius, are you okay in there, or does it look like you need help getting out? What does Lucirosi see as you're in there?
I mean,
I like to think Lucius, he just says, "Hey, Zarius, are you okay in there?"
there was a
Smoke rises off of him.
he's being electrocuted. There was a moment where the running jackals around him almost flicker and dissipate, but they stay around. Yeah,
Okay.
he's scorched.
All right. So then first, Lucirosi is going to use an action to lay on hands on himself and heal himself up 55 hit points. And then he's going to use his bonus action to do the spiritual weapon. Damn it. And then he's going to run over to Zarius. Yep. First, he's going to drop his weapons over here. He's going to run up to Zarius. Grab you, and then use an action point to drag you away. So I'd probably take you this way. Because I'm using an action point, Kurt, can I do the full 30 feet?
Sure.
And then as I'm doing it, I would also put myself between Zarius and this thing, so if it does decide to do an attack of opportunity, to try and make it attack me.
Okay.
So I'd probably move out there. So I'd take you over this way.
So as you get about 10 feet away from it and continue to move, it does, one of the pseudopods that had attacked Zarius does lash out,
Misses.
but misses. And it's Zarius' turn. I think you're still within 15 feet, though.
Yeah, where is its square end? Is it here or is it here?
This is technically like the last square here. This would not hit it, and this would not hit it.
Okay.
So anything where it's basically like only barely scraping in, that's not really in that square.
Okay. What's this range on this? 30 feet. I'll give it a shot, I guess. Man, can I get a sense on whether or not necrotic damage would be effective here?
You could give me an insight check on that, or religion check, whichever you prefer.
I certainly prefer insight.
Your sense would be, because this detected so heavily of necromancy, then necrotic damage at least may not do as much as you hope to it.
Right. Okay.
It's also not got like a lot of flesh to it, so it's hard to necrotize.
Right. So like my one ability, I've never used it before, but I always have it prepared as a Grave Domain cleric. I considered using. Probably not going to be effective. I get Vampiric Touch. Alrighty. So instead, I'll just Sacred Flame that bitch. There's some solid damage.
So the storm erupts within it, and you can see its mass is diminished visibly by that.
Perfect. And I still have my bonus action. So I'm going to make my spirit weapon hit it as well.
And you can all at this point see it is visibly less coherent than it was when it first rolled out of the orb.
Cool. I can move and stuff.
Yep.
I'm going to take a step this direction. And then I'm going to use one of my action points to cast Death Ward on Lucia Rossi.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
And then I'll take another step back. Before the fight.
I'm going to find. Let's see, I'm gonna. Yeah, probably like here. I'm gonna
Got
pop
an
out.
angel on my shoulder.
I'll pop out here.
More like a howl in the distance.
Yeah, I picture a little dog, maybe curled up on my shoulder, ready to take one for the team.
It's all in your head.
And I'm gonna throw 3 or 2 darts at it.
Okay. So are these magical? Does your monk special ability make them count as magical?
Should. Normally, if you're attacking with a monk weapon, and darts do count.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your unarmed strikes. So.
Okay. So the darts still they still basically pass through the cloud, but you could see that they definitely do strike something and slow down visibly as they cross its path.
And I'm gonna then pop back, retreat behind the monster manual.
Let me see how far. Yeah, you're not within 15 feet anymore.
Yeah, but as soon as he moves if he moves closer to us, then it's going to happen.
So yeah, roll your damage because he's moving in your direction.
Yeah, Lucius is going to continue to interpose himself between the thing and Zarius.
So again, the thing is getting visibly thinner. This time it is going to envelop Lucia Rossi and attack Lucia Rossi. First attack.
That's a big old hit. Oh, wait a minute. No,
He's banged.
minus D4.
Yep, that's a good point.
Yes! Miss.
Just like limply. Fine.
Oh, that's good.
No, that one don't matter.
I like how you rolled anyway. God damn it.
I got a reaction. Fuck that guy. Normal hit. It's not a crit.
All right, so then
Yikes.
that's a lot. So minus 2, minus 17, then minus 17, 13. So I'm looking really rough.
Funny, I thought you were a cat.
Ha 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 ha.
Cormovigilus advances and forms another psychic lance and throws it.
Throw another one.
You can't form them and throw two in one round. You can
Throw,
Only through
form
one.
both. It just means he's not trying hard enough.
Aurelia.
Let's see, check one thing.
That's true. Maybe he's just like, oh, it's Lucirosi being attacked. Fuck that guy. He's gonna get us killed.
Let me try. So is Lucirosi is in the cloud somewhere? I don't see him anymore.
Yes.
Hey, that cloud's thinner. You should be able to see a silhouette.
See if I can hit him with Eldritch Blast.
Can you even see it?
Yeah, you can. This case here is not high. It's
okay.
it's essentially a low table.
Gotcha.
Wait, I hear. Listen to see if I hear Lucirosi scream or yelp. Okay, nothing. I can do another one.
Whopping a whole lot of damage there. Woo! Scorcher right there.
So you're pretty sure they both hit, though.
Okay, but I can't tell if it did anything.
It's very difficult to tell in small increments how much
Okay.
damage is being done.
All right.
Are you doing anything else?
I need to move here. Move up here.
So Lucirosi.
So Luciorosi's just kind of putting his arms up like this, taking the dodge action, and then using his bonus action to move his spiritual weapon up and attack with it. God damn it.
I had to move and then pounce. It's a lot to ask. Little force line. Zarius.
Alrighty. So range on this. Oh, okay. Not everybody's within range of this. I may have to kind of save this if necessary. We'll see what happens. Make sure that I got nothing else that's helpful here. No. More of the same.
So the Sacred Flame dances, again, winnowing out a lot. You think maybe you've got this thing almost beat, but it's not completely lost all of its vitality yet.
Okay. Let's take one step back here. It seems to have a longer reach, so I should be still avoiding.
Right.
All right.
Teal.
Teal's gonna throw two more darts at it.
Okay.
Since he can now wandered into his own site. So the second one presumably hits.
Yeah, both of them fly through the mass of the cloud. Both of them slow down a bit as they're going through, but the second one definitely is probably almost certainly a hit. Doing anything else?
I'm going to spend a Kai point to add to make it deal my weapon's maximum damage, so it does another 4 damage.
Okay.
And I'm going to wander next to Aurelia here.
So about this point, you do hear back. I forgot on Zarius' turn. You do hear back from Kepri saying that as near as he could or she could tell, the storm hasn't been affected.
Okay.
It rolls up so that the two of you are both within.
Gotta make that wisdom.
Yep.
He might die.
It didn't quite die, but definitely is taking damage. So first it does 2 attacks against Lucirosi, who's still dodging. So the first one's a miss because the Bane will definitely.
Uh-oh.
Second one could potentially miss. It hits. But
And then, go ahead.
so that at that point the death ward takes effect, doesn't it? Because I'm dead.
Yeah, then death
yeah,
ward
so
would
you-
take effect.
So I'm at one hit point.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is this isn't one of those enemies that's super smart and would say, aha, I almost have him. So it instead attacks Zarius, which maybe
miss.
isn't good news, but misses.
Ha. Feel like we're in Speed Racer. Ha.
Carbovigilus's spear does appear to do something, but he doesn't kill it. Aurelia.
Mhm.
Actually, now you can't see it from where you are.
Yeah. All right, I guess, yeah. Okay, I guess I can see it now.
Yes, you can see it now. At least half of it.
Screw it. I'm gonna cast Dissonant Whispers on it. See what happens. Let's go. Okay. Anything happen? Nothing.
Did you cast a spell?
Yeah, I'm clicking on it. Just it'll probably like 5 will show up.
You gotta
Let's
do the
see.
level.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you probably got a little pop-up box somewhere hidden.
Submit, motherfucker.
So I'll just say you're pretty sure this thing doesn't take damage from psychic damage, purely psychic damage.
Right. So it obviously can't hear me or anything like that.
It might be able to hear you in a sense, but this doesn't seem to have any effect on it.
Okay.
Lucia Rossi.
All right. So first thing I'm going to do, move this guy up there and attack.
Okay.
Do anything?
It appears to be clawing into the mist. It's you're not sure that it did a lot of damage.
Is there any way, since we're both me and Sirius are in this thing, is there any way that I could force the creature to focus on me or attack me?
I mean, I would say,
Or just interpose myself, like use my action to just jump in front of any attacks at Sirius.
you might be able to prepare. I would say you could definitely essentially prepare to use your reaction to absorb the brunt of a hit. If you used an action point, I would certainly let you completely absorb any future hits. Although that's true. If you're only probably going to take one more blow before going unconscious, so maybe not after that. But yeah, you could use your action to prepare to react.
Okay. I would do that then.
But otherwise, yeah, you're not exactly clear how it's choosing targets, like why it didn't go after Zarius twice. Oh, did you didn't get hit last time, Zarius? That's fine. Never mind.
Yeah.
So Zarius.
Okay, so this thing is still
Still hanging on.
okay. I'm gonna go ahead and Sacred Flame. Bane makes that
Bane.
fail.
Yep. So it fails. It's still hanging on.
Um,
Although
and,
it is really wispy at this point.
and then now we're at Spear Weapon. And terrible damage.
Yeah. So it is still hanging on.
And then I'll use my other action point to mass cure wounds on us here. I can only get me and Lucia Rosie, unfortunately.
And don't you regret that death ward now? Because if you were at 0 maximum healing.
No, yeah, it's fine. I figured he's more useful to me at the moment if he's still up on his feet. Right. So that did not roll at all. Okay. So it should be 3d8. Okay, so I'll just hit this with 3rd level then. Be the same thing. So we get 12 hit points.
Nice.
And Teal's turn.
Well, I'm back above half.
I'm at 13. But
And
still valiantly putting myself in front of danger for you, Darius.
It's fine. As long if you could just take one more hit for me, we're good. Because then the next time I go to heal you, you'll be golden.
Right. But also, if I die, you can bring me back. That's important.
I technically can do that, yes.
You can't stay in the same space as her.
I thought you could move. You can move through.
You can move
spaces.
through, but you can't stand like in that spot.
So I would get to a spot where I could throw my last 2 darts that I have.
Okay.
So the first one hits.
What's the movement speed on this thing? I just thought about that.
Oozes usually aren't very fast.
Yeah, because it's
Usually.
difficult terrain for this thing through this.
Well,
effect. But,
it's an ooze though. It can squeeze. It's one of its properties.
I'm not so.
It could
Not
squeeze under.
squeezing through anything.
Right.
Just being assaulted.
So I was here. It's 30 now. Move back to the salt at 3.5. And that'll be my turn.
It just starts.
Okay. And so first it takes a swing at Zarius.
No, first it makes a wisdom save.
Yeah,
That's
it's gotta
true.
make that save. Gotta.
So first it takes 13 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Then it takes a swing at Zarius. And it got a 23.
Make that Bane. Make that Bane check. It might fail.
Got a 21.
Fuck.
So Lucirosi will jump in front of that. And then go down to 0. So
Okay. Perfect.
Uh,
All going according to plan.
let's see. According to plan. So let's see. Which of the two of you is it going to go after? It's going to go after Zarius.
Hit that Bane. Fuck. Meets beats. So hold on, that's
Then it's going to go after Lucirosi because it can't really tell. All it knows is that he fell over.
So that's a failed death save.
It's 2.
Right.
It's an automatic crit.
Okay. So
I mean, what's your AC?
my AC is 18.
18.
Can I see the attack from my angle? Does it look like he's attacking it? It's attacking it?
How do I make multiple ones?
Just pick the thing and press a number while you're hovering over it.
Oh, right.
So what were you asking, Peter?
I'm trying to see if I can tell if it's attacking Lucirosi because I can barely see him from my vantage point. When it attacks something, is it obvious? Like we see the lightning?
There is a sort of tendril and a mass within it that's moving, or that lashes out of its body. So I would say, yeah, you can see that Lucirosi was attacked.
Okay. Well, when I see that, I guess it really doesn't matter. This probably won't work, but I'm going to try cutting words. It probably doesn't give a shit, but for the hell of it.
Yeah, no, actually, the cutting words works.
Okay.
So instead of, I guess I should roll to see. Well, hold on, 23, so 20. I should roll the Bane. So yeah, it actually somehow, the armor that Lucirosi was wearing was enough to protect him.
Oh, cool. So now it's just
You don't have-
unconscious.
Yes, just unconscious.
And that's why you always wear your
But
even while you're
unfortunately,
asleep.
unfortunately, he was not conscious to realize it saved him. So
oh, by the way, my spirit guardians is down. I failed to save by 1. If Luce Rosie were conscious, it would be fine.
Aurelia, it's your turn.
Okay. Shit. All right. Yeah, I know that's me. 25. Can I step here?
Sure.
Like, get around that?
Yeah, it's not really in that space that's right here.
And can I see Luce Rosie and Zarius in the cloud?
Yes.
I'm going to attempt to thunder wave the other half.
Okay, so like this portion. Sure,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I mean, what the fuck?
Goodbye to those books.
Yeah, and it's a storm, so it might actually heal.
No. It's a cloud.
It's a storm cloud.
It's a fox cloud. Foxfire.
So it's saved. However,
No,
even
it's got Bane.
Bane.
Right. I was going to say, however, it saved, but even with that, this manages to sort of blast it into a mist up against the wall where it fades into nothing.
Alrighty.
So it is whatever it was, it vanishes.
Is Luce Roshi like taking death saves right now, or is he?
Yes, he is.
All right.
I mean,
All
I assume you're going to cast Spare the Dying, so I won't make him roll.
Yes.
Carbovigilance is like, hold on, let's think about this. Could be a blessing in disguise.
Let's not be rash.
You're not gonna hit me with a heal for Max.
I will in a moment. Once I know everybody is good. That was more troublesome than I expected.
Yeah, it was a fairly powerful creature spell or whatever it was.
Did it leave some kind of ooze or whatever on the wall when it hit, or is there any residue?
There's not really much. There is actually still some sparking and a few wisps of cloud, but it does appear as though it's vanishing, as opposed to it's not exactly like it's got a solid liquid substance to it. It's more air. I mean, you could try to capture what's left of the sort of wisps, but they all appear to be electrically active, so you might get shocked.
But you also might catch lightning in a bottle.
Right, exactly. Although I hear you could just basically mix pepper and oil for the same effect.
Yeah. I have it on good authority.
So I'll reach down and like grab Luce Rosie, like I'm gonna pick him up even though he's unconscious, and then I'll cast the 4th level Cure Wounds, which will give you 36 hit points.
Which causes Luce Rosie to instantly jerk up and go,
Your arm is being held up, and I'm pulling you up basically.
how many hit points?
36.
As you wake up, there's just like it almost looks like snow falling around you, but it's just the remains of scrolls and books that have been blasted into nothing by the thunder wave.
Did we beat it? Destroy it?
It would seem so.
So let's take a 5-minute break.
All right,
Sounds good.
and
Yeah.
I'll have Kepri check again.
Okay.
So, alrighty.
He doth gaze upon the field, and he maketh a plan, and he hath a jointing cap. Hatched upon his head, he is a long woman, he did find an old for view.
I lament the many times that thou impugned my honor, but maintained it was ever something I had done. No more shall I live that way, and what thy words bewray. As
So you're using the ghoul disease in another game, Tony? That's
Yep.
one you're running.
Yeah. So
What is
so-
it? What is that book that you got?
Oh, this the Ultimate Bestiary from what do these guys do again? I got a few of their stuff.
Is it Kobold Press or some other group?
No, a different one. Nord Games.
Ah.
Yeah, I got
Is it
some of
mostly
their-
undead from the cover? That's what I assume.
quite a few undead, yeah, and then there's some like lycanthrope stuff, mongrel folk, which is like weird sort of hybrid people.
Yeah, I remember them from 3.5.
But yeah, so it's like various variations of different things, different kinds of liches and stuff like that. Various kinds of ghouls and ghasts and skeletons and yeah. But yeah, I do use so the there's like a sort of secret underground undead kingdom in my world.
Hmm.
And so the party has kind of stumbled upon them by accident.
Like an Empire of the Ghouls kind of kingdom.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's a reference, but that's what they are. Like I had a different party actually encounter these people as well, these undead, and fight the Emperor one variation.
Mhm.
So that was fun. Through the assistance, the very kind assistance from Asmodeus, they were able to beat it. Kind and generous Asmodeus.
Yeah, I feel like I should steal all of that for this game, but I don't think Lucirosi would allow anyone to ever take any assistance from Asmodeus.
Only in contract form.
At this point, I think Asmodeus would say, "You don't have anything left to offer me."
Damn. Harsh.
One of my guys already got yours.
So the room is now quiet. And Kepri comes back to report that the clouds outside seem to be breaking up.
Lucifer
And that sunlight creeping through does seem to be turning the tide of some of the fighting that's going on the ground now that it can be more easily seen. Kepri couldn't exactly make it out because she was flying so high. But it does seem as though it's almost like two groups of undead fighting one another. Although the sunlight is making it a little easier for the Koegi V soldiers to take command of their groups of undead against the other groups that they're fighting.
So Lucirosi is going to cast Aura Vitality to heal himself and the group. So that'll give me 20 d6 of healing. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 21, 31, 35. So I'll heal myself just a couple times. Another 12. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, who needs healing? Okay.
I'm at 18 out of 100.
Okay, so 7, 8, 9, 10. Where are you at now?
What do we got here? 11, 12, 13, 14 plus 8 is 22. That's 40 out of 100.
Okay. 11, 12.
How does Cabo look?
Not good.
I think T-Hole's also looking pretty rough.
T-Hole just assumes he's last. So he's not
Actually,
gonna bother. He's not gonna bother Lucirosi for any
Cabo
healing.
Wabo isn't even looking for help from Lucirosi.
Yeah.
Just the last two there.
So the last two are for you, and that puts me at 12 out of 20.
Cabo gets 18.
57 out of 100. Probably okay.
So that's 14 then to you, Zarius. So another 15 to you for 16.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm good.
T-Hole, what are you at?
12.
All right, so you'll get the last 6.
Sweet. I'll take it.
Look at Lucirosi using spells for things other than smite.
It's crazy.
I know. What kind of times are we living in?
So what is the plan now?
Well, now I think we need to get the rest of the Deadpools out safely and join the fight against the undead creatures.
And T-Hole, do you guys still have contact with the prefect?
Him and he's gone.
So you don't have any way of getting in touch with him?
Unfortunately not.
Not today.
Well, the concern is we don't know if he left with the real Nerva or the fake.
Probably the real one.
That means the fake one is still here for us to find and destroy. Unless she also fled.
She probably fled too.
Knew
See,
that we had bested her.
Can we tell if there's light coming into the room? Did you say that?
There's not light coming into the room outside the tower itself. The clouds have begun to break, but the clouds that the barrier that protects the tower is still intact. The storm that hangs over the entire 50-mile region is breaking up.
Right.
We wouldn't know that inside here just from Kepri telling us.
Right. It's just from Kepri reporting back.
We've been told the storm is breaking up, so the tide's turning, so of course she's going to leave. We need to go down and
but
help your friends out.
The storm was here for us, for the Empire.
I don't know about that. all that rain was so icky and gross. I can't
The
imagine
storm
it
was a
helping us.
blight upon this world.
Well, I mean, the storm was there to make sure that when soldiers died, they came back in some useful form.
An unholy abomination.
But a useful form.
Pablo, let's go check on your friends. Make sure they're okay.
Well, according to T-Hole, they killed all the regular soldiers so that they could be brought back in a more useful form. I don't know what this other sort of ghoul is, though.
So
Not one to be controlled.
it's a more dangerous, more infective undead. One that can't be allowed to live.
Huh. Well, I've never heard of that happening before. I've heard of these storms being used.
Well,
Where else have these storms been used?
In the newly conquered territories in Eridane in the south, far further south than here.
I mean, there are other of these storms.
Sure. As I understand it, these storms are an ancient sort of magical technology. So they've been used for thousands of years, although they're hard to construct and they're somewhat secret. Certainly beyond what I could ever do.
I think if we run into another one of these storms, we need to find a better way to dissipate it.
Or perhaps you could remember how you created them.
That also would be nice.
We need to move. We can't just stand here. Let's get the Deadpools out and join the fray to destroy the undead.
So Cabo suggests that before you go back and get everyone, that you at least scout downstairs, because it was suggested that maybe they would release all the prisoners, and that would be, in his opinion, a problem because some of them are dangerous.
Yeah.
At least if their collars have been taken off, they can be dangerous. But when you go downstairs to do that, you discover all of the prisoners down there are dead. Human, demon, and otherwise, they all appear to be dead. The collars around almost all of them are constricted down to a very small diameter, enough to, in many cases, decapitate creatures or at least crush their necks enough to kill them. Even the Mind Flayer you find dead. The only living thing you find down there in a cell is a very familiar looking hovering multicolored ball that is identical to one of the creatures that attacked T-Hole in the chapel in Mordenkainen's Manor. It is sealed up in a room in the prison downstairs.
Wasn't that the time elemental?
Yes.
So, seeing that the demons are dead and the devils, would Lucifer? Well, I mean, the librarian said himself that if these things are killed, that they would just return.
Yeah, I mean that's
maybe
pretty.
lesser, maybe as a lesser demon, but still.
It is pretty common religious knowledge, at least like for someone who does what they expect paladins to do. That yes, that what's here on this plane is essentially just a reflection of the true demonic or devilish energies. So when you destroy the physical form here, they simply return back to their native plane, where they will reform, usually in a lesser form, unless they're incredibly powerful to begin with or have taken some sort of precautions. But for the most part, devils and demons are considered fodder to the more powerful ones, and so they don't get that sort of ability. So most of them wind up going back and becoming the least form of whatever it is within their particular hierarchy.
Abo, who did this?
Well, given that the collars have shrunk, clearly the prefect ordered it.
So he
I
caused
mean,
the
it makes
shrinkage.
sense. You don't, yes. You don't want things like this wandering around. I'm glad he didn't just release them to try to delay you guys, which, I mean, raises the question, why would you even imagine he would do that?
I don't know. He's behaving really strange.
I guess it's a point of view question. He seems to be behaving normally, as near as I could tell. But luckily, he didn't release them all, so he did what he should do. What is his duty? He took care of the threat and neutralized it.
Good. Now, that's a heck of a mess to clean up. I think with some redecorating, this could be a nice place.
Yeah, well, now that we're leaving, I hope to never see it again.
Let's be done with this place. Let's take care of the threat outside.
Where would the equipment be for the people upstairs?
What sort of equipment?
Whatever they had on them when they were brought here.
Oh, I don't even know that they're, you mean your friends. I don't know that they're anything other than simple weapons were here when we got here. I don't think they were marched here with all of their stuff. That would be silly. What if they broke out? They could just get all their equipment, start fighting us with it.
I suppose you wouldn't want that.
But Zarius, you bring up a good point. Is there an armory? We can't just bring the Deadpools without having some way of them being able to protect themselves.
There will be plenty of, at least, assuming they are proficient with Imperial style armor, plenty of armor, and certainly enough weapons for them all. I mean, nothing fancy necessarily, but the same thing the legionaries would use.
We'll have to do.
But they would be outside this tower. There aren't a lot of stores kept inside the tower.
Well, we encountered one of the buildings with the legionaries' armors and weapons, right?
Yeah, in one of that was essentially like a guardhouse next to
Yeah.
the outer walls. What he's talking about is that there's the fortress itself, and then this is the prison tower within the fortress. So they have arms and armor in the fortress as a whole, but they don't have a similar room here in this tower.
Right.
Again, because people could break out. You don't want them to have access.
All right. So come on, let's get the Deadpools and prepare for the battle outside.
Well, so if we're going to have to fight our way to the armory, maybe we go outside now. Clear a path at least so that they can go and get armor or get weapons and bring them back.
That's fair. Zarius, will you be able to speak with Kepri to let them know to come down when it's safe?
So long as I am close enough. Perhaps we should give them a choice on whether or not they wish to come now. Some of them still may be useful.
Sure. Well, let's get Lokexicus down, and whoever else wants to join.
Are you life mates now?
Give you some moral support.
I'm not comfortable with this conversation. Let's focus on what we need to focus on.
So yeah, Kiriko and Gagarna and Lokexicus come down.
Tell him the situation.
Right. And yeah, they've come down because they're willing to go outside and try to fight your way to get to one of the armories. And we don't have to necessarily, what's going on outside isn't something we necessarily have to do in rounds. It can merely be described.
But we're gonna
When you get outside, you see that there is pretty widespread fighting going on. You can hear it more than see it, but as you exit the tower, there is one Koegi V soldier who is surrounded by the zombified forms of Imperial legionaries who is fighting against a mass of ghouls. The ghouls don't appear to be anything unusual, but they do seem to be led by one that is much more intelligent than any ghoul you would have ever seen before, and is directing them intelligently. But certainly that with the sunlight out, they're having a much easier time dispatching these ghouls, as the ghouls, first of all, the Koegi V soldier is smart enough to stay back and not get within range of the paralyzing claws of the ghouls, sending the zombies in to do a lot of the work. And probably even without your help, he has a pretty good chance of winning. With your help, it's no contest. You're able to defeat them, eventually dropping even the leading ghoul, which is also staying back and out of the fray.
Was that the Cardinal by chance?
It was not the Cardinal.
Have we seen him around?
No, but you could still hear fighting in other parts of the fortress.
Okay.
I was told you may be coming out of the prison tower. I suppose we're on the same side now. This is the other Koegi V's.
We've always been on the same side.
For the time being.
Not exactly what I've heard. Carbo Vigilus, why are you with them? Well, there is this imposter who is pretending to be Nerva, who killed all of our fellows inside the prison. So I am the last, except for perhaps you and Deboris. I think we're the last of the three that came on this. And at this point, the one's just sort of staring at him.
We must reach your armory.
Well, luckily, there's an armory very nearby. And he leads you, there's across the courtyard, there is a series of steps that goes up to a drawbridge. The drawbridge is currently down, so he leads you up there and around and through a door. And you can see there is a fairly well-stocked armory. Most of the weapons here, though, they have primarily spears and swords. There are a few warhammers and maces, more than enough, for the group if you wanted to get everyone a warhammer. But it does lean heavily on swords, daggers, and javelins.
Well, I think we would know in general what each of the Deadpools would be able to best utilize.
Mm.
So I think we could prioritize those things.
So you gather a number of weapons and take them back in. You all, as a group, then come down and make your way slowly around the different sections of the fortress back to the main gate. At the main gate, you could see one of the Koegi V's and a few of the zombies are fighting off a particularly large group of ghouls that seem to be led by what remains of the bishop. And the bishop does look to be a much more intelligent sort of ghoul than you would otherwise expect. Eventually, you are able to whittle away those ghouls. With your help, certainly, they are able to defeat the ghouls that they are facing. Without your help, this particular group might have lost to them, although it's not entirely certain that that's the case. but you, Zarius, are 100% sure that the bishop has been turned into one of the Derrical ghouls. The other ghouls you don't think are necessarily infectious.
Right. I mean, does that ghoulish cardinal recognize us?
You're sure he does. You're sure he knows who you are.
But he still remains hostile.
Yes.
So be it.
I mean, which is par for the course in your experience with this. The dead that rise up evil. They retain a lot of their memories.
Mhm.
Over time, their memories generally fade, but that's because they can live a very, very long time.
Right.
But when they come back, usually their first move is almost always to try to eat, to try to feed, and
Mhm.
they can only feed on living creatures. And they almost always prefer humanoids.
Yep. Okay. Such is the way of things. I mean, if these are like sort of lower level things, like I might even attempt to like turn them all, like destroy them all if I think that's a possibility.
Right. And one thing you are also
Even
aware of is that
friendlies.
the friendlies you can turn much more easily because the ghouls that are within a certain range of a Derricool have turn
Right.
resistance.
Right. That's fair.
But so as you start destroying the zombified soldiers, which really are easily destroyable by you, the two Coagi Vis and even Carbovigilis are like, "What are you doing? These are our troops."
No, they are abominations, and Lucirosi would be joining in destroying the troops.
These
One-
are
once-
Imperial soldiers. What you are doing is a crime. You are destroying Imperial assets in a time of war.
These are abominations. They should not be used.
We're currently having an active fight against Derek.
Well, I
against
imagine
other
we
undead.
wouldn't do that until after all the Derek would.
Yeah, once like the fighting seems to have stopped, it was just kind of like tap the staff.
Okay. I guess I would imagine that there would be other pockets of like fighting as well.
You're destroying
what-
our soldiers. We don't know that there weren't Derricool that have escaped into the mountains. We have to hunt them down. It could take days. You expect us three to do it on our own?
I thought you were high class soldiers.
Yeah, it's a lot of fucking ground to cover, you morons.
We should at least leave the Empire undead untouched for now.
This is a moral crisis for Lucirosi.
Zarius will ponder for a moment and Osiris will call for them soon. And just storm off away.
All eyes turn to Lucirosi.
He roars in just frustration and like, "Ah!" And then he walks off.
Where's your lion soundbite?
Instead of
Teal after Lucius walks off, Teal would be like, you know, cut them a little slack. They don't really understand. They're from the world where all undead are evil. It's very hard for them to think of them outside of that box.
Well, I mean, if we weren't controlling them, they probably would try to claw your faces off. So I guess they're evil in that sense, but they're easily controlled.
Easily destroyed.
How many are left?
I mean, it's a fortress full of them. So
Okay.
there were a couple hundred to begin with, or at least
Okay.
100 to begin with.
Okay.
So the ghouls destroyed a lot of them. And Zarius took out quite a bit. But there's still a number left, a couple dozen. So I assume you are all leaving then?
Yes.
What time
Is
of
that
day is it? We just
What?
rested. I know we just long rested, so it's probably fairly early, huh?
Yeah, it's actually pretty. I mean, you weren't necessarily keeping like the day-night cycle to begin with when you went in, but it is probably now about late afternoon. But you did just not that long ago, finish a long rest. By the time you get back, basically fight your way back to the main gate, you have been up for about 4 hours.
Well, I did get that nap in there.
Right. So the question is first of all, where do you want to go from here? And how do you want to get there? There's one road leading out of here, and the mountains are a very difficult climb. The road leads back to basically the Hobgoblin army and the Elf army. So do you want to travel in the direction of the Morses and try to slip by them?
And we're cool with those guys.
Right. The mountains that around here are close to unclimbable. You could do it, but you should probably secure some mountain climbing gear, which they probably have inside the fortress.
So Lucirosi would turn to Cato and the rest of the Deadpools and say, ask. So, as we discussed before, we're a bit displaced in time. Where can we go?
Well, I imagine we are all still criminals in the eyes of Longspear. I unfortunately don't think it would be a good idea to head towards their forces, and that means it would not be a good idea to head towards the church's forces either. I don't know where to go off the top of my head. Heading into Hobgoblin and Elf territory doesn't seem like a good idea. We should perhaps disperse into further west into Eridane, places where the Empire has no sway.
I must go south.
You should try to find the halfling you mentioned. If he survives the fight in the pit and the fall in, at least. But we could check on that if we follow the road to the outer wall.
Yes, that is certainly important, but well, is Cato suggesting that we separate from here?
No, not necessarily. There's one road in and out. He would say he is in no position to mountain climb.
Right.
So he pretty much is going to have to take the road. He would understand if you wanted to separate and go over the mountains. But he himself is going to have to try to brave the road and try to hopefully slip past the Hobgoblins, as they certainly would be taken prisoner if they were captured by the Hobgoblins. Or killed. There's that.
Right. But if we accompanied them, you know, because we're cool with that one group. I'm not sure.
I mean, you were cool with one captain
Right.
who let you go. Who
Right.
knows what the rest of the armies would do
Right.
if they even know who you are. He had reason to know who you were.
But the troops did have the comics, so
Right.
it is not unreasonable that they would at least be aware of our fictitious exploits.
Right. You would know though
Just
from
two of us.
right, just two of you, and you would also know from Kajika, certainly with respect to hobgoblins. If you only met hobgoblins might say, "Great heroes, we should kill them because then we'll be famous."
Yeah.
Yeah, but Zarius does mention that my people need me to the south.
Yes.
It is the reason why Kepri is here.
I think
I must find that halfling. What
Nimrod.
was his name again? What?
Nimrod.
Nimrod.
Many of the stories of T-Hole originate from south, from the deserts. He was the first pharaoh.
It's your origin story, T-Hole.
Do you still have that heart? I think I gave it to you.
yeah, I would have been carrying it. So like
Because like Zarius would totally carry it if you wanted him to, but it is yours. So
T-Hole's gonna carry it for now. Like I'd imagine like kind of like an old man. Like maybe I'd find like some way to like kind of strap it up on my back. So like I'd be like the old monk that's got like the big pack on the back, and
right.
it's kind of like a penance type deal.
So Lucia Rossi, kind of in discussing it, would agree that the one thing that we as a group can wrap our heads around, and where the Deadpools might find some safety as well as the purpose, is helping Zarius reclaim his kingdom and save everybody from being damned. But at the same time, Lucia Rossi would be very firm on needing to go and find Nimrod, but he wouldn't expect anybody to join him.
If he is,
Lokexigus would chime in to say, I am pretty sure if we went back to Cartha, no one would pay us any mind whatsoever. Even if the Empire is looking for us, I don't think they would look for us there, or care if we were wanted in Longspear for trespassing. There are far worse people living in Cartha.
If you guys feel like you can be safe, then that's really what matters.
if this halfling is truly someone you are destined to find and help, then we are likely to encounter him again.
I can't say that it's destiny, though. Asheros can light the way, but if you do not continue to seek that path, he won't just bring it around to you. I would hope that our paths would happen to cross again, but he didn't seem to be going south, right? He wasn't going south.
You must
He
then
went towards the mountains, right?
No, he went back down the road
Okay.
And then, well,
That's all we got.
he was running through the gates when he was eventually chased up a ladder and then thrown into a pit. So last you saw, he was going down into
Yeah, so
the ground.
perhaps
Yeah.
first we just go to the trench and see if he's there.
Okay.
But Cesarius would say, you must then consider what is most important. This redemption you feel you need.
No, this is not simply about redemption. There's some greater good that would come from this act, this mission.
I forget what was in the email that you sent me originally, Kurt, but this one man against an entire kingdom of people who are, I forget what it was though in the email.
Their souls
There's
are,
something bad going on.
Yeah, their souls are going to be damned to hell, and they're going to be taken there within a certain time frame. I think a year, right, or something. Because
It was
There was a
unclear.
statue.
I wasn't quite grokking what it was you were referring to. Yeah, what there
That's
was
right.
was, so a devil or demon has taken over the entire Warmlands and enslaved everyone, and is essentially building a pyramid. So you would know, I mean, no one's built a pyramid in a very long time, but you would be aware that is, depending on the size of the pyramid, literally a monumental undertaking. It can take a very long time to build a pyramid. It's almost certainly more than a year.
Mhm. No reason to even let them build the foundation.
Right. I mean, it wouldn't sit well with Lucia Rossi that creatures, anyone is in servitude, especially under the servitude of a demon or a devil. But
Let us consider then, what is the nearest civilization that we could travel to? This is likely to be his location. It would do us well to find a spot to recollect ourselves.
that's why Sirius. So Lucia Rossi would pick his brain as well as those around him as to what's close by, especially close where the Nimrod might feel comfortable going.
Right. Well, I mean, you did have some conversations with him about what he would do, and he himself wasn't that sure, because unfortunately, like, you are roughly here, and the nearest civilization in any other period of time probably would have been Montvert, which is where he was originally from, but that is now just a ruin. So, and controlled by the hobgoblins at this point. So that is probably not where he would wind up going. So the nearest place you would expect him to probably make his way to is either towards the legions or the remnant, the forces of Longspear. Now, he would have the same sort of problem. He's technically a prisoner, but they wouldn't know who he is.
Right. And Longspear is where the others wouldn't be going because they might be known as fugitives.
Yeah, well, that was the concern that Cato had, is that he would be known as fugitives. I mean, they are sort of personally known to the king, who personally sentenced them. And Lokexicus is kind of easy to spot.
Right.
So, you know, if they use false names and can like hide their appearance, they could probably sneak through the Longspear lands as well. Because it's not like every common soldier is going to know them on sight. But they
Lucirosi
they wouldn't necessarily want to stop in Longspear's lands. Passing through Longspear's lands probably is relatively easy.
Right. Where's Keto's family?
Cato's family lives in St. Belry, which is it's basically in the church lands.
So Lucirosi would ask Cato, can you return to your family?
Looking like this, I don't know that I should. And besides, if I'm a criminal in Longspear, then I am a criminal in the Prelacies as well.
It's not like they'd recognize you.
And that may be to my advantage.
I mean, you've suffered greatly, Cato, but certainly your wife and children would want to see you, even as you are.
I suspect that is true. I don't know, however, that I want them to share the shame of my crime or the fate of a criminal. I may send for them at some point, but I will need to find someplace safer than the Prelacies. I mean, our best bet in terms of a combination of security and closeness would probably be to settle in the great kingdom of Eridane. It's not one of the church lands. It's not affiliated with the churches. They wouldn't necessarily care that we have anyone looking for us from the churches or from Longspear there. In Theresa or Ren, there we would be hunted down as criminals to the churches.
So Luciorsi's heart breaks a little bit for Cato, knowing that it's going to be some time before he is able to reunite with his family.
And how far south will you be going, Zarius?
So I forget where I'm from. The warm lands, you said, right?
Yes.
My people are from the warm lands. And there's quite a
You can see,
distance.
yeah, he doesn't know where that is, but when you explain it to him, he realizes like it's basically the furthest point possible away from where you are.
No, I see a little settlement on the other side of these mountains here. Ganavera. I don't know what that is, but there it is.
Right. There is actually, that is you considered to be like beyond everything beyond the barrier peaks is almost considered to be like outside of civilization and the known world.
So north of the wall.
Right. I mean, there are traders that go down there. There are resources that get shipped up from that far south, but it's pretty rare. It is certainly further than Cato would have ever gone. He was never have been down that far south.
And I did it on a bum leg.
Right.
Perhaps that's where you got your bum leg along the way.
So you have a very long journey in front of you. How do you think you would get down there? Surely you didn't walk all that distance.
And why not?
Well, I mean, I suppose you could have. You are very old.
I imagine there's probably the occasional caravan that travels around there, perhaps.
There are certainly caravans that come north and south. They're rarer than they used to be when the Empire was at its height, but it still happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. Like, what options for travel would there be that would be fairly expeditious.
Well, there are still very few skip ships that probably could cover a lot of the way by water, but they're very few and far between. And you don't necessarily know that they haven't all been taken there. They'd all be registered in the Empire and probably seized since there's now a war going on. So there may not be super convenient ways to get that far south other than walking. So,
He's
some
got
of
to
the
find a
rivers,
pirate.
right? Some of the rivers are navigable, but a lot of the ones that run north and south aren't. So getting to a place where like the water, the best water route would be to go from some port on the Athmere down through the great kingdom of Eridane and through the Sanctum Principalities, which is like a bandit kingdom. But then you've got to march across 1,000, 2,000 miles of desert. If you got off in like the Republic of Moanai, the Gnome Kingdom, what I was saying is, if you march directly, that is probably not any less good than trying to find an indirect route that lets you sail. But it is hard to get to the warm lands from here. It is deep desert.
So, Zarius, perhaps we can search together for Nimrod along the way to try and find some means by which we can quickly get to your homeland.
So
Okay.
my question would be like, how much do you want to? A lot of the space between you and that place, if you took a direct line route, would be church lands and then imperial lands, or at least the lands the Empire has occupied recently, before you cross over into Ismailir. Now, if you wanted to avoid that, and you may or may not, I mean, maybe you can get more word of what happened with the prefect if you went through the imperial lands. But at the same time, maybe the prefect will interfere with you more if you're moving through imperial lands. But the imperial lands are probably the most direct route.
Nobody here with a sailor background, huh?
No,
Um, I was gonna actually ask Lokexicus, where would you go if you were seeking safety at this time?
I would go to Kartha.
Where's Cartha? Oh,
Kartha,
okay.
yeah, Kartha is on the Athmere itself. I mean, even you could probably, if you wanted to find some way of getting that far south, could probably find a pirate in Kartha.
This seems like a plan to me.
where's Cartha?
It's on
Kartha's on
that
the
big
north
lake there.
shore. Yeah, the north shore of the Athmere.
Oh, okay, I see it.
That is actually where the Colossus and the Deadpools are headquartered.
Oh, so most of them can return there, right?
Right. Because it's semi-lawless as it is.
It might have the people and the skills we need to make this trek.
By the way, did we find Nimrod in the ditch?
When you get back to the walls, you look in the ditch. There is a small body covered in mud is in the bottom of the ditch.
Lucius would go down there and try to see if it's him.
So extending
starts
the
clawing
rod
at
of
you.
lordly, yeah,
Yeah.
extending the rod of lordly might down into the ditch. It sinks into the mud, and you climb down and wade over a few feet. Flipping the body over, you realize it is the remains of the halfling imperial soldier that Aurelia thunderwaved into the ditch. It is not Nimrod.
Okay.
And it does appear as though its head has been pierced through with some sort of small bladed weapon.
That's too bad because Zarius could have raised him. If it was him.
I could still do that. It'll seal up wounds.
No, but it's not him.
Yeah, but that's fair. I see what you mean. Yeah. If it were him, yeah, that would be easy.
Yeah. Of course, it's not.
I couldn't do it today. I could do it tomorrow.
Right.
I don't think we were gone for 10 days. So yeah. That's my limit, by the way. 10 days.
Yeah, but meanwhile, fuck whoever this guy was and his family.
I mean, he was an undead. He was already gone. He's probably been dead for longer than 10 days.
Right. So you make your way back down the road. You eventually you come to a clearing. You have quite a group with you now. You can hear the sound of a stream ahead of you, and you can see there is a small stone bridge that you remember crossing over before on your way through the mountains. On the bridge itself, you see there is sort of leaning against one side of the bridge a hobgoblin. You're probably now within 25, 30 miles of what remains of Monver. He seems to be sort of nonchalantly waiting there.
Not hailing us or anything.
So
He doesn't seem to be really paying attention to you. You know, he is basically kind of resting, and you are sort of moving. So I assume you are, particularly with your passive perception, much more likely to see him first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so in case somebody doesn't see him, I will point him out to the group.
where there's one hobgoblin, there's usually more. Not too far behind. So real quick, I'm a little confused. Which way did we decide that we're heading towards?
To keep the group together, you have to head down the road.
Okay.
And so that is in the direction of Monver. Eventually the road will fork and you'll be able to pick a direction. But right at this stage, there's only one path through the mountains.
Okay. So how shall we proceed?
I'll sort of take a look around, see if there's like others hiding. Maybe this is just like a honeypot sort of thing.
You can give me a perception check. You don't see that there's anyone else, but you do realize there is a tiny humanoid figure that is perched on one of his shoulders.
Tiny humanoid figure?
Yes. I mean, maybe not like Monster Manual humanoid, but human in shape.
Right.
Like a little method?
Something like that.
Method, fairy.
I mean,
something?
it looks, yeah, you don't see that there are wings. It looks almost like a tiny human.
He has something on him.
What is it?
I do not know.
Right. Well,
I shall approach. Come if you wish.
I'll go with you, Zarius. Perhaps everyone else should hold back for now. We are the famous ones, after all.
So we'll be the first to be killed by the hobgoblin. We did it, guys!
I mean, both of you can, as you're approaching, both of you can give me an insight check.
Is he dead?
One thing you notice as you're coming up to him, still before he's noticed you, in your experience, like you vaguely know what hobgoblin soldiers look like. This guy doesn't look like a soldier. He looks more like one of their religious caste, and they're much more rare. You don't see them as often.
Well, Lucirosi would continue to approach them.
I'm a little scared for the dance of the sugar plum fairies.
And as you get closer, you see he finally takes notice of you, and he lifts himself up from where he was leaning and says, "Ah, good. Finally, this stupid vision pays off. You're Zarius and Lucirosi. Where are the rest of your so-called heroes?"
Who did you see in your vision?
You. Who else would I? How would my vision have paid off?
I said, who else?
Oh, I had that vision. I saw people, and they're not here. Vision paid off.
Right.
Your other old man friend, and some cat lady, and ugly motherfucker, and a bunch of other people.
This is a
What?
good start. What is it that you wish?
Yeah.
Well, you guys are
What he said.
you guys are supposed to be heroes of destiny, right?
It would seem so.
We do our
Right.
best.
And your destiny is going to interfere with the will of my God. So I'm here to see to it that you don't make another fucking step. And with that, you see he grows to about 50 feet in height.
Of course he does.
And that's where we'll end it. Right before we roll initiative.
I don't have any
he
fifth
does
level
have
spell
he does have this tiny person on his head. Now that you're closer, you realize she is human-ish looking, but she does have some devilish aspects to her.
Okay.
In that she has horns, and like there's patches of her skin do seem to have scales.
Okay.
Is this somebody's card that they pulled from the deck?
Well, you had heard, like you would know from hanging around with Kajika, that the principal god of the hobgoblins is this deity they call Satan Mamadati. The librarian said Satan Mamadati is actually like a Baelor or a pit fiend or something like that,
Mhm.
who just got trapped here ages ago and became the god of the hobgoblins.
Satan.
Satan Mamadati, one word.
Nope. It's 2 words.
No problem. Modifying memory.
Satan. Mama Daddy.
Yes. Yes, that is Satan. Satan Mama Daddy was actually what I was thinking of when I made up the name.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just because that made it easy for me to remember, and I knew I would, given that Kajika was a hobgoblin, that I'd probably want it to be something that I remembered.
So we left right from there, and this is what we ran into.
Yeah, actually, 2 things. One, you would have leveled up, and this you're now within 25 minutes or 25 miles rather, of Monver. So this is actually like 2 days of marching later.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah, you would have
so
also
we're
gotten in a long rest before this fight.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Nice. Level up and a long rest.
Yep,
Level
Nice.
10's level 10's a good level.
level
You mean
11.
10,
level
we should go
11.
level 11. Which
What-
means we get
what?
6 level spell slots.
Yeah, have you been level 9 all this time?
You've been playing like on hard mode.
Don't say it.
No, I
All he's uses is fear.
I was looking forward to the next level because I get there's something I get out of it. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff though.
Zarius gets 6 level spells.
Yeah. And 9 hit points.
Well, I just do max hit points every level.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, whatever. I'm 1 off the pace.
That accounts for your limp. That 1 hit point.
Yep. Let's see, what do we get here?
I have a difficult choice to make. Do I go